I'm new here, I don't know. The acronyms are all of that to use, so I'm just going to spit out how I'm feeling. 3 months ago, my fiancé, long-term relationship of 10 years, began to expand his career by becoming a store director. This would mean training at another store in another town. I was fully supportive, fully committed to seeing him succeed. The training started in August and would only be for 3 months. During this time, we did not get to spend a lot of time together because he was working many hours and dedicated to completing projects and tasks that needed in order to complete his training. When he would pass one section, I would celebrate with him champagne, a card, flowers, beers, you name it, just something small to tell him that I supported him, and I was so proud him. One day he asked me if he could meet with another trainee that was also going through the program so that they could work on their projects together. He told me that he wanted to ask me before he did anything like that so that he knew that I would be comfortable with it. I completely and 100% trust my man, so of course I did not have a problem with it. Jokingly, I said, as long as there's no issue, like if I don't have anything to worry about. He reassured me and said he would not ever betray my trust. I believed him. I had no reason not to. He asked me if it was okay and wanted to know that I was comfortable with them working together. He assured me I had nothing to worry about. Over the course of the 3 months, they've met 8 times for lunches that I knew about. We text and call each other multiple times a day to say I love you, I miss you, or just to check in and see how our days are. We live together. So, he's home each night and we do what married PPL do. This is the usual thing for us every single day, and every day of this 3 months. I would say around a month and a half, I got a weird feeling. I thought that maybe it was just my jealousy of not spending time with him and beginning to miss him, and that was weighing on me. So I let him know my concerns and that I was starting to have a little bit of jealousy. He was very reassuring, very supportive of my feelings, and continued to reassure me that I had nothing to worry about. We were in this for life, and there was nothing coming between us. He would never allow that. Their final certification was to take place over 2 days in another city. This would mean he was staying at a hotel with 14 other program grads. He told me that she had asked if she could ride with him to the event and ride home so that they did not have to drive separate vehicles. I wasn't comfortable with the idea, but to not seem like a crazy jealous person, I agreed. The day before he was to leave, my gut instinct took over every part of my normal being, and I had a panic attack. I left work, came home, and called him. I told him exactly how I was feeling, but I was scared that something was going to happen, and I didn't want to lose him, and all my fears that I just didn't feel right. I even began to think that I was experiencing separation anxiety. He asked if I wanted to have her drive separately. He reassured me that he was not going anywhere, and that I had nothing to worry about. After him calming me down and talking me off the ledge, I agreed that maybe I was overreactive, and it would be silly for them to drive separately. I still couldn't shake the feeling in my stomach. I knew something wasn't right. However, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Over the 2 days of his certification, we were in contact several times a day. I noticed, though, that it was when no one was around. It was only when he was alone. His group went out to dinner, went bar hopping, and were out until past midnight. I felt for a professional program that this kind of behavior was not really professional and on the up and up. I definitely took issue. Fast forward, he's home and we're eating breakfast the next day. She calls his phone and he ignores. I said, "You can answer that, why wouldn't you?" He said, "Because I know you'd freak out." I said, "Why would I freak out over somebody that you work with that you talk to?" He completely gaslit me the entire time, and I fell into the trap. I bought it hook, line, sinker. The next morning I went through his phone. I saw messages from her saying that she was horny, asking if they would be taking a nap on one day. A selfie-type picture of her kissing his neck and him all smiles. Selfies of him from a hunting trip that he had sent her previously. I couldn't even get through the messages before and waking him up to confront him. He was able to get the phone and delete all the messages, so I will never know the extent or the truth. He tells me they never were physical, that he was just having fun. He was under a lot of stress these last 3 months, and I had no idea what that felt like. That he just wanted to release and to have some fun. He knows that he messed up and that he feels very bad. I cannot shake the feeling of being at fault. Even when I know that I did not do anything to deserve this, his betrayal is on him alone. He said that he had felt distance in our relationship for a while now, and maybe that had something to do with it. I was completely unaware, and he had hid that from me. His words never told me that he had any issues with us or that our relationship was lacking anything. I told him that going forward he needed to end the relationship with her, and I needed to see proof of that. He did accommodate me by texting her and telling her that their relationship is strictly professional and that he apologized to her if you had let her on. She knew about me, she knew he had a girlfriend, fiance, and a long-term relationship of 10 years. At least he said she did. He told me if I contacted her that he would never speak to me again, that if our relationship means anything that I'd leave her out of it, that I just have to trust that he did not sleep with her. Over the past 5 days, we have been working on re-establishing trust, but it has been very difficult for me. I find myself needing him and his attention. So, I'm not sure that he's being held accountable for what he's done. He fooled me over a period of 3 months and then attacked my mental health by making me think that it was all in my head. Now that I know the truth, or part of the truth, I'm made to feel like it's my fault. I know he must have guilt and that he must feel ashamed, but I don't see it. I know that he is sorry, but I don't feel it. He has a very avoidant personality, and having to be too accountable might be too much. We've been working nightly on restoring trust with a sharing, giving activity I came up with. It's been going well. We went on a date yesterday and did some shopping for our upcoming family vacation. While he was at work today, he sat in his truck for lunch. I knew because we share our location with each other. I asked if he talked to her. He said no, but wouldn't let me see his call log. This is all so raw that I reacted poorly to him saying no, and I couldn't believe him. I want to. He said he hasn't spoken to her since he ended it, says that he wants nothing to do with her and he was just having some fun, wants forever with me, etc. Maybe he just wants another 10 years where he doesn't have to pay any bills. Ugh, I've just rambled through this and I'm not even sure if it makes any sense. I needed to vent. Maybe you have advice. Best comments. You need to find your spine. How did he turn everything around to where you feel you are partly to blame? This guy cheated and lied to you 100% of the 3 months. You call, text a bunch every day begging him not to do anything and you feel off about it, so you continue to beg. He gives you cheating answers by gaslighting you. He gets home, you see the texts. You confront him and somehow he makes you feel guilt about your relationship. He tells you if you get in touch with her, he will never speak to you again. That tells you everything. He slept with her. Who texts someone saying they are horny and asking if they are gonna take a nap on a certain day if not sleeping with them. Your man is a liar, and if you don't pack your shit and leave his ass, you have only yourself to blame for the misery you have in your life. I couldn't get on the phone fast enough to call this girl to find out the truth, and hope he would follow through with his words so I would never have to talk to his cheating, slimy ass again. He told you if you contacted her, he would never speak to you again? Sorry, he's gotta go. He's not sorry at all, and he's still prioritizing her. I bet she doesn't know about you. Or she does, but she's married or has a boyfriend. Now it's best to never contact the AP, but if I was in your shoes, I'd find a way to message her, just to let her know you found out about them and that you're his fiance and you're been together for a decade now. Then block, because there's no need for a response. Seriously, don't get into a back and forth thing with her. If she knew about you, she'll love the interaction and use it to joke about how you're crazy or something. I just let her of your existence, then block forever. No need to know the aftermath either. Just know that whatever happens, happens, and that he can't hide his secrets anymore. Then leave and block him too. Your, hopefully, ex turned out to be such a shitty person. I'm sorry, up. But at least you found out before marriage. That's a blessing in disguise. I promise you, if you leave your cheater, you won't regret it. I'm so sorry. He said that he had felt distance in our relationship for a while now, and maybe that had something to do with it. Keep in mind that cheaters almost always find some way to rationalize their cheating, and one form of this is to suddenly notice problems in the relationship. Very often, this will manifest in behavioral changes where they become ill-tempered or critical. It's really just part of their defense mechanism, so they don't have to confront the reality of their shittiness. Second story. This time last year, I, 38, asked my wife of 29, together for 9 years, married for 4, who she was texting while we were watching TV. I had actually already seen the name but wanted her to say. She lied to me and gave the name of a female friend and quickly locked the phone and continued watching TV. I looked at her phone and discovered she had been texting a guy like you would at the beginning of a relationship. First thing in the morning, last thing at night, throughout the day, when we were together. She would never leave her phone alone. There was never anything sexual, flirty, or suggestive in nature. They never discussed their feelings or problems or life in general. But I suppose this is how some relationships start. It also seems she didn't try and hide the chat despite knowing I had access to her phone, but still, she lied to me. I assume this would be considered an emotional affair. All I know is how I felt after, distraught, sick, betrayed. When I confronted her about it, my heart was racing so hard and fast I thought I would pass out or vomit. I am very conflict averse. She admitted texting with him and said she didn't know why she did it. She said she wanted to tell me but never had the courage and that she was worried I'd be angry. I've never shown anger or violence in our relationship, and also didn't during the confrontation or afterwards. She cried and also admitted to self-harming, something she did when she was a teenager and had since started doing since we moved back with her parents. Not an uncommon regression. Part of me felt the crying and mention of self-harm was manipulative. She also told me she couldn't imagine life without me. I told her delete the chat and cut contact and suggested she saw a therapist. I didn't suggest we saw one together. I also told her after discovery I felt suicidal. Maybe manipulative on my side. The next couple of nights she also initiated sex in a much more passionate manner than normal. More manipulation or hysterical bonding, perhaps. We had just bought a house and were moving soon, so I think for both of us the idea of breaking up was just too stressful. If it wasn't for the house, I would have ended it. During the next year I was very resentful. This week I discovered her chatting with another guy. She said if I didn't bring it up she doesn't know if she would have, and admitted that this time it probably would have gone further, become an affair. I supposed her honesty is admirable. She said she did it as a distraction from our relationship, and how she wasn't in love with me anymore. She said she had felt this way for a few years. She always hoped that the reason she wasn't happy in our relationship were other external factors such as living with parents, university, other life stress, and that once we moved to our own place, things would get better. And if not, she would go on pretended because I had given her so much in life and she didn't want to hurt me. I told her how her original actions destroyed my trust. She told me she didn't want to go on pretending. We agreed to divorce. We are both relieved we are divorcing. We have been discussing our relationship and life more in the past 4 days than the past 9 years. It's nice to be so open and honest. So those are the facts and my side of the story. I am, however, struggling to resolve my feelings for her. We are still living in the same house and sleeping in the same bed, although without any physical contact. We are amicable. We still cook and eat together, take care of pets, watch TV. Is this part of me being a people pleaser and conflict averse? I don't feel angry at her. Should I be? I have no desire to shout at her or argue. If she suggested we stay together and get counseling, my answer would be a resounding no, but I don't get the impression she is trying to manipulate me to stay together. Would I feel different if I had some physical distance from her? Would I forget the good parts and just lie in bed simmering with rage and resentment until all was left of her was the lies? This happened 4 days ago, so we are just starting the process of separating, and financially it's difficult for one to move away. I also think some of my feelings result from my behavior in the relationship. We didn't have a healthy communication style. I didn't want to buy the house, but she did, so to avoid any conflict I agreed. She was crying, and I simply said, "Fine, we'll buy it," and walked off. Nothing more was discussed. She didn't attempt to reopen the conversation, and I didn't have the guts to be honest because I am scared of conflict. I've also been passive-aggressive, made stupid comments about our relationship, joked how we were more like roommates. An awful thing to say to your spouse. I thought never arguing was a good thing, but actually we were just avoiding being honest. I'm not trying to absolve her here, just give you some background on how we communicated. We both thought never arguing was a good thing, but what we were really doing is never being honest. I also didn't have any life outside of her. I moved to this country to be with her. Never got my own friends or social circle. I was happy being alone when she wasn't there, and then only with her when she was. Asking this from a person is too much. This is why I also feel like I don't blame her for what she did. Throughout our relationship, we didn't communicate our feelings, and instead of telling me how she felt, she did something stupid and possibly self-sabotaging. I think if I felt how she did and had the opportunity, I might have done the same thing. Maybe I would have cheated, because I was too scared, to be honest. My wife, of course, fully blames herself. She continued the relationship instead of telling me how she really felt, and also texted other people, which has resulted in my feeling more hurt and betrayed. It probably sounds like I am trying to retain the original image I had of my wife: compassionate, kind, patient, caring, someone who would never cheat. It is possible those characteristics are true despite her actions. Are her actions proof she is none of those things? Or is she just a person who made some terrible decisions? My opinion. Dear friend, in my subjective opinion, your decision to divorce is absolutely correct. Your spouse has made it clear to you by her behavior that your relationship has reached a dead end and it is pointless to get out of it. If you had continued the relationship, she would have continued to cheat on you, not only emotionally but also physically. Please don't lose faith in yourself. Contact a good psychologist who can help you start a new life. I wish you all the best. You will manage. I believe in you. Thank you for listening. If you like this video, please give it a like and write your opinion in the comments. See you soon.